All right, so mountain bike training. This is going to be the exact framework that I've used to train for mountain biking and specifically downhill racing for the last several years. I do the same structure, I just change the workouts out to keep it fresh. You can rip this exact same formula and have a better structure than most mountain bike fitness programs are going to teach you. With everything sport specific training related, the goal is to reverse engineer the sport itself and replicate those forces and movements in the gym. So, thinking about mountain bike, what forces do we experience on our bike? I can break it down to three. The three most important movements we experience on our bike are push, pull, and hinge. Notice I said hinge, not squat, because all of your power on your mountain bike should be from your posterior chain using the big muscles on the backside of your body, not just squatting with your quads. That's how you get fatigued and get in passenger mode and crash. Your quads should be for pedaling. The rest of your body should be for stabilization. Anyways, quick rant. But I'm not going to nitpick or tell you what exercises to do, but these are the things you should prioritize. Obviously, push and pull give you upper body strength needed to absorb impacts and control the front end of the bike. Your posterior chain, your hinge, and then honestly, yes, do work in some squats. Squat movements are good too. You're going to need all the leg power and posterior chain power you can get. But for the purposes of this video, we're going to talk about it in terms of push, pull, hinge. What's even better than just doing one thing at a time, say training bench press and then training squats and then training pulls or like rows or pull-ups, is if you can combine some of these and do compound movements. Never on your mountain bike, on a trail, will you only do push-ups or only do squats. So you shouldn't train that way in the gym. I'll tell you a way to segment out and target specific areas together in a minute, but try to focus on compound movements as much as you can. That will help with mobility, which is a key component of performance on a mountain bike. It's not just about how much weight you can move, it's actually about how well you can move your weight. So compound movements will help you with mobility while you build strength. If brute strength was more important than mobility and agility in mountain biking, Jackson Goldstone would be built like Hulk Hogan. Now, there's two other factors that are highly important to incorporate, and those are grip strength and core stability. So, big picture, trying to replicate the forces and movements of the mountain bike in the gym. If you can't get out and ride and you want to get better, you're going to do push movements, pull movements, and hip hinge or lower body power thrusting movements. You're going to try and combine them as much as you can into compound movements so that you can increase your mobility while you train your strength, while incorporating grip strength and core stability. So any variations you can do to incorporate grip strength, do it. Free weights are better than machines because you're actually holding weight. And again, with a lot of this, muscular endurance is more important than brute strength or power. It's all fun and games until you get arm pump halfway down a race run and you can't hold on to the bars anymore and you got to slow down. It's all fun and games until your legs or your back gets sore and you lose your body position and you crash in the gully. So again, push, pull, hinge, compound movements for strength, add mobility, focus on grip strength and core stability whenever you can incorporate it. Now the kicker is if you can do all of this at the same time and incorporate your conditioning and replicate the intensity of race runs. Let me show you how. So our goal is to replicate the sport as best we can in the gym, right? Think about downhill and think about mountain biking, especially downhill. In this sport, you have 2 to 5 minutes of all out, high intensity, full body work. And then you get to fully recover and rest while you catch a ride back to the top. And then you drop back in and do it again, full intensity, all out, full body, mobility, agility, strength, endurance for 3 to 5 minutes. And then you get to stop and do it all again, all over again. And the cycle continues. So we're going to replicate that in the gym. We're going to do 3 to 5 minutes of high intensity circuits. This is going to replicate our downhill race run. What we're going to do is pick 5 to 7 exercises and stack them back to back to back. So you're going to do exercise 1, immediately followed by exercise 2 with no rest, immediately followed by exercise 3, immediately followed by exercise 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. And you're going to do these back to back to back to back to back to back to back with no rest. And that's going to simulate a full downhill race run if and only if you choose the right exercises. So what exercises are we going to choose? You can do push, you can do pull, you can do hinge / legs, you can do a compound movement, you can do core stability, you can do grip strength, or any combination of those. In the description of this video, I've linked a free master list of all of the mountain bike specific exercises that I've done in this format. And so just have them. I just want to give you guys this for free so you never have to worry about how to train. The hardest thing is showing up. The hardest thing shouldn't be figuring out what to do. It's very simple. So, and it literally doesn't matter. What you're going to try and do is get as much variety into this stack as possible. So if you can, try to think about a downhill race run and think about this as a trail or as a downhill track. So let's come up with an example and then I'll walk you through exactly how you execute this in the gym. So we got to pick 7 movements. We want to pick mountain bike specific movements, and we want to have a lot of variety that include push, pull, hinge, or legs with compound movements, core stability, and grip strength plus mobility. So I'm going to start with the basics and the obvious ones. We're going to do burpees first because that incorporates push, mobility, it's a compound movement, and legs and hips. So you can trade the time per reps once you figure out how long it takes to do a certain number of things. Then we're going to do lunges. But we're not just going to do lunges, we're going to do lunge with a press. Compound movement, push, pull, legs. Then we're going to do pull-ups. Again, for 30 seconds. So all of these, we're going to say 60 seconds of that. Then we're going to do a plank hold. So that's going to be your core stability. This is going to give you a chance in the middle of your circuit to catch your breath, but keep your whole body tight and in power the way you would on maybe a flat motorway section or a more chill section of trail. You get to catch your breath, you get to calm down, but you still have to stay locked in and not get complacent. So we're building that in and replicating that in this circuit. Then we're going to do some kettlebell swings, and we're going to do those for 30 seconds because those are a great exercise because if you do them right, they should be that hip hinge, that explosive hip drive with some arm mobility built in. So you should get some work into your shoulders as well. Burpees, lunge and press, pull-ups, plank hold, kettlebell swing. Then we're going to hit the row machine, and we're going to do that for a minute. So that's 60 seconds. And then finally, we're going to do farmer's carries with one arm. So one arm farmer. So this is your grip strength. We're going to do that. Call it 30 seconds per arm. And so right there, there's a 5-minute circuit. You can obviously cut this down if this is too much to start. Scale up to this. This is a big workout. 30 seconds of burpees, 60 seconds of lunge and press, 30 seconds of pull-ups, 30 seconds holding a plank, 30 seconds of kettlebell swings, 60 seconds on the row machine, and 30 seconds per arm of one arm farmer's carry. The reason you do farmer's carries with one arm, you have to engage your core on the opposite side to stay strong. It's not just grip strength, but it's also core stability. You get a 2-for-1 special. So with those 7 exercises, that's going to take you 5 minutes if you do it for time. That's on the high end. Again, remember, you can go shorter, but I'd rather train longer and have more endurance and more muscular strength in the bank so that I don't need to tap into on a trail. So we've targeted 3 to 5 minutes of high intensity training and stacked it into a circuit with 5 to 7 exercises. We've done push, pull, hinge, compound movements, core stability, and grip strength, all in these 7 movements. Then we're going to repeat this. Now that you have this circuit, you're going to repeat this between 5 and 10 times. So this obviously is a much longer circuit, so I would probably be on the low end. I'd probably do 5 of these. If you have more time and ambition, you're welcome to go more. The days I do 10 rounds, I might only do 4 or 5 exercises, and they might be lower reps. But what you're going to do is when you get to the gym, start with 10 to 20 minutes of dynamic warm-up. Don't do static stretching if your body's not warmed up. If you could stretch and pull muscles that way. So I usually go into the gym and find the row machine, and I do 10 minutes of just zone 2 cardio level, low heart rate, steady state row machine on like a 2 or 3 max on intensity. Then I'll go into some more dynamic movements, maybe some walking lunges, maybe some twists, some lunge and twists, maybe some leg kicks, maybe some leg swings, maybe some push-ups, maybe some jump rope, some things that'll continue to get the body warmed up. Spend 10, 15, 20 minutes on your warm-up. Then, whatever time you have left, stick them into doing rounds like this. So once I've done my dynamic warm-up, which takes between 10 and 15, 20 minutes, I will do full rounds like this. Once you get through one round, let yourself completely recover. I use my Whoop to track my heart rate for this. So as soon as my heart rate comes back down into zone 2, I try to recover as fast as I can. Usually my heart rate is up near zone 4, zone 5. It's certainly in zone 4. It might be zone 5 by the time I get to the bottom of this circuit. I might start cooling down if I finish with something like farmer's carry, which is strategic. That's why it's last. You're just walking back and forth. You can start to get your heart rate down. But all the time you need to fully rest and recover, then do it all over again and complete the circuit between 3 and 10 times, depending on the length of this. Now, this is where you get to be creative. You can change out any of these exercises. You can do as little as 4 exercises in a circuit. You don't have to do 5 to 7. I would just do more rounds. So I would do, usually if I'm doing 7 exercises, I'll do probably between 3 and 5 rounds. If I'm doing 3 or 4 exercises, it's just hard to get the variety out of 3 or 4 exercises. But if I'm going to do 4 exercises, I'm going to make sure they're compound movements and they hit everything: push, pull, hinge legs, compound, core stability, and grip strength. I'm going to do that more like 7 to 10 times. So I prefer doing a longer circuit for less rounds because I'm still trying to hit that 3 to 5 minute mark. That is the exact framework that I use to train for mountain biking, and it is very similar to some of the most popular training formats that you have seen and training programs that you have seen advertised on YouTube or on Instagram or wherever else on social media online. Nothing's that crazy. Again, this all comes from trying to reverse engineer the sport itself and replicate what we do on our bike in the gym in the off season. We're not riding as much. So with that, if you like this video, share it with a friend that you think might find it interesting. And if you want to learn more about the things we do at KinetiQ, feel free to hit the link in the description and check out the community platform and some of the other things we teach over there. So if you want the full list, if you want a worksheet that makes this easy and the full list of exercises that I do for mountain biking broken down by push, pull, hinge, legs, compound, core stability, grip strength, it is available and for free inside our KinetiQ community platform. Click the link below. It'll be a pinned comment, or it'll be a pinned post there. If you don't see it, send us a message or comment workout below this video and we'll send you the link. With that, I'm going to get the heck out of here and leave you guys to it because I've got to go to the gym. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.